Welcome back, YouTubers, to another TNA Impact Wrestling review with us, the British Fist.
Ka-ching!
I'm Mr. Parkin, and this guy sitting next to me, you'll know him as the rightful NJ.
What's up?
What's up, indeed? Subscribe above, like this video, and comment your thoughts on this edition of TNA Impact Wrestling down in that comment section below.
And make sure you contact us in the link in the goodie box below.
Yes, indeed. And with this kind of being the sort of follow-up show to Destination X, we had a lot lined up for this show. So I was very looking forward to seeing what TNA were going to offer us. They kind of hyped this up as like a pay-per-view Impact after Destination X, with Destination X being focused on the X Division, and then the next Impact being focused on pretty much all the other storylines going on in the company.
Well, the thing I liked about TNA when I first started watching it is they always would show what we're getting next week, or at least 1 or 2 matches. And with this particular show, they hyped up quite a lot of what we're getting. Replacements of matches being moved to this week, hype up for matches. It was very nicely done and definitely got us looking forward to it.
I mean, you had a very good, what was a very good Destination X pay-per-view, and they followed it up with an Impact which had a lot of hype for it. So they were obviously trying to grab some ratings this week. But one thing which may have stopped them getting a couple of those ratings was this whole Direct TV and Viacom debate, meaning that around about, which basically means Spike TV has been cut off to 20% of the American audience. And so basically 20% of USA can't watch Spike anymore. And it's a real shame that this has happened to TNA, because their ratings aren't great as it is. Now they're going to get even lower. It's a real shame for TNA putting out such a good product, and just not many people are going to be seeing it.
As much as I really disliked American TV for cancelling some of my favourite shows, this was an add on top of that.
Yeah.
I know we get it, but obviously for you fans are getting this as well.
Yep.
And this was a really bad time. We've had a great pay-per-view, and then you had a hyped up show that was so much drawing going into it. Then this hits you. I'm like, TNA, this is a really bad time. I know it's not your fault, but I bet you're really upset by this.
Yeah, and Dixie Carter said herself she was very upset, not just for the company, but for Austin Aries as well after his title win. And with this being so hyped up, this was done to draw ratings. So I guess that is a bit of a bad situation for TNA. Put your thoughts in the comment section as usual. But now we're going to go on to the actual show itself. The show opened up this week with a pretty nice video package, didn't it? They hyped up Austin Aries' title win, made that scene special, and then they hyped up all the stuff we're going to get on the show. It was quite a cool video package, wasn't it? To sort of start off the show, tell us what we were going to get and everything.
Well, with the importance of what this show is meant to deliver, us having that awesome video package, yeah, it went on for a bit of time, they had a lot to cover, and it was very nicely done, and definitely got us ready for this show.
The opener was a surprising opener, because I thought they would open up. Yeah, I thought they would open up with Austin Aries, but instead they decided to open up with Bully Ray versus Joseph Parkin, the Anything Goes match. You know, this to me was a very entertaining opener. The first thing I noticed about this was Bully Ray trending worldwide, 3, 2, 1 on Twitter. That was taking a little stamp out of Austin Aries' book there, Bully Ray.
Well, with Bully Ray being a big thing on Twitter right now, so make sure you subscribe to him or follow him. The thing about this is that he used it in this match on kicking his ass and letting people know about it. Very nicely done. I really like that.
Yeah, the crowd were really into this. There was a pretty big reaction. You had the thumbtacks, the steel chair, the kendo stick, the cheese grater to the groin. We had got the spine buster on the tacks, which got the kick out by Bully Ray, and Bully Ray ends up hitting Park with the chain and getting the victory. We kind of thought that Bully Ray would get the victory here, seeing as Abyss was kind of like banned from ringside with the whole restraining order thing. So I think Bully Ray did need to win this one, really, if they were going to continue this feud onwards.
Well, I went into this match expecting this to be the chance for Bully Ray to wipe out Joseph Parks. There's no Abyss by his side, it's just these two in the ring. The problem I had with this is that, yes, there's booking a wrestler, giving a wrestler a push, but in this match, there's a part of me that really felt that maybe they were really overly pushing Joseph Parks. And Bully Ray, I really thought this was going to be his chance to actually show what he can do in these kind of matches. And the way they built up to it, Joseph Parks was doing all the work, majority of the match, and then we have Bully Ray with the one knockout punch match over. And I just felt it was a good match for Joseph Parks, maybe not the best for the Bully half of the match.
Well, Bully Ray got the victory, and as a heel, he generally dictated the pace. I mean, I thought that Bully Ray was generally dictating most of the match, but and Joseph Park got his shots in as the typical sort of plucky babyface would. Then you had this whole sort of aftermath, really, with Joseph Park. He starts bleeding, and all of a sudden, he channels his inner Abyss and does the black hole slam, and he's like, oh my god, did I just do that? And everyone else is like, man, you're Abyss!
Yeah, this is clearly the way they've done it when they had them both in at the same time, or they had going to the ring segment. I really think this is actually going to swerve round to Abyss versus Buddy Ray somehow.
Oh, yes.
But the way they did this, it was interesting, gets people interested in what's going to come next. But in my opinion, even after the match, after Buddy Ray won, they still fed more to Joseph Park. So in my opinion, Joseph Park was pushed a bit too heavy in that match. But that's just my opinion.
I personally didn't have too many problems with the segment. I thought the post-match interview with Buddy Ray saying, "Who was that? Who was that in the ring?" was pretty good as well. So that kind of added to it. So I didn't have too many problems with this opener. I thought it was a pretty damn good opener. Very entertaining as well. Got the crowd going. Do you want to move on to the next segment?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Rob Van Dam versus Samoa Joe in a Bound for Glory series match. You just had Samoa Joe come off that big win against Kurt Angle. And then he loses to Rob Van Dam in about 5 minutes. Gets the roll-up victory. Joe looked pretty pissed. Hashtag I'm turning heel, possibly.
The thing about Samoa Joe is I really thought that he would be, as he knows he's higher up in the table now, he would go on a dominant streak and keep proving that he's the better man. Yes, Rob Van Dam's a big name, but still, with Samoa Joe, compared to last year, he's on a rampage, he's on a run. I just thought that he would have got another win here. Yes, it would have looked good for Rob Van Dam, but I think Samoa Joe should be the one to watch out for.
Yeah, I mean, he's still at the top by 1 point over James Storm, who we didn't see tonight, but I guess you need to trying to give some other guys some more points and make it a little more competitive. I don't know, but I just thought coming off the back of a big victory against Angle, it was a bit stupid to maybe make him lose to Rob Van Dam, even though Rob Van Dam is kind of a star for the company in some way. RVD. Do you want to move on to the next segment?
Not really.
Alright, well, we'll do it anyway, just for our sake. They had a segment with Kaz and Daniels coming out, basically saying, despite the fact that AJ beat Daniels clean at the pay-per-view, there is more to the story. Daniels brings out Clair Lynch to answer some questions, and we get the whole revelation that the truth needs to come out. And AJ and Clair Lynch basically says that AJ is the father, and we get the Jerry, Jerry, Jerry chants. Could this storyline take any more twists?
Oh, this is just what we need, AJ's, possibility of him looking like the star, the big guy that does everything right for the company. His career is slipping down fast, and now she wants him to do the right thing, which we'll probably find out next week, making this storyline even worse, in my opinion. And I just really didn't like this. When they said, hey, it's the truth, I was like, shut up, I need a gun for this. I should have got the gun that I was going to use on Raw and bring it to this show and shoot Claire. Just shut up!
Yeah, we all knew there was going to be more to this storyline. I guess we'll have to see where it goes. I will say this, though. What do you think is worse, Clair Lynch or AJ? Just want to get your opinions.
They're both just as freaking bad. I can't say. They both have... WWE have that horrible AJ going on and on and on, week after week after week. And now TNA. AJ, a guy, yes, they continue the feud with Daniels, but they continue in this boring feud that I'm pretty sure most of you guys would agree that this segment was horrible.
Yeah, although this segment was horrible, whoever says that Raw is better than Impact Wrestling is a bit of a tool, in my opinion, but there we go. We had an X Division segment next. You had a nice video package showing Ion's title win, and they're basically, you can see from what they're doing in this segment, that they're essentially, the big focus here is Zema Ion versus Jesse Sorensen, because they had Dakota Darso backstage talking about how he didn't like how Ion celebrated at the expense of Sorensen, and then they ended up having a match, which went about sort of 2 minutes.
Yes, this Darso, I don't think he's going to get really far, especially if he loses in a 2-minute match.
Essentially, isn't he?
And I look at this match and think, yes, you need to give Arms the win now to build him up to make us believe that giving him the belt was the right choice. So I guess this proved it, but a 2-minute match, an X Division match, they just didn't give me a good feeling.
Yeah, I mean, Ion beats, like we just said, he beats him in about 2 minutes. And then after the match, you get this segment where it looks like Zema Ion broke Darso's arm. Obviously, it's kayfabe, but they're trying to add to the whole I can injure your friends kind of thing. That's the way, basically, how they did it. And he cuts a promo afterwards saying all the Jesse Sorensen's friends are going to get hurt from now on. And you can just tell that they're building to a big Jesse Sorensen versus Zema Ion feud here, just based on what they're doing on this segment. If they carry on doing it this way, it could be a big moneymaker for TNA, in my opinion.
Well, with the way that the crowd's behind both of them, I think this match would definitely be a good drawing match when it eventually happens.
Which you should do soon, by the end of the year, hopefully. Get well soon, Jesse Sorensen. In our main event, really thought this would open the show, but in our main event, we get Austin Aries coming out talking about his title win. got a very good reaction from the crowd. The crowd didn't want to stop cheering him, did they? Kind of similar to his win at Destination X.
No, the thing about this is that I'm glad that Aries got his mic time. The fans not shutting up. Yes, it's to show respect to the new champion, but it came to the area where we couldn't really make out what he was saying throughout some of the promo. But when we actually did make out what he was saying, when the crowd decided to be quiet, it was pretty good for what it was.
Shh, shh, shh. He basically puts over the importance of the belt and Impact Wrestling and says that it's great to be the greatest man that ever lived. And if I was Austin Aries, I would definitely be celebrating with a couple of martinis right now. And then Bobby Roode comes out. He's very frustrated to the point where he can't quite get his words out, can he, NJ? Because he's so freaking frustrated. And I just got one word. Fluke!
That was his word, but my word would have been rematch. He should have got his place and demanded a rematch there and then in his face. Or Aries, because obviously when Roode got the ring, Aries started speaking, and Aries just said, if you think you can beat me and it was a fluke, prove it, we'll have another match, or something like that. But I know we get it later on, but that would have been a perfect time to have more great mic skills between these two and gave us the hype that we wanted for their rematch.
Yeah, so a nice intro for Austin Aries as a TNA whatever champion. We got the thing later on where Bobby Roode wants to try and prove he's going to Hogan, and Hogan says, well, why don't you prove you're better than Aries by calling him out Open Fight Night? An interesting way to use the Open Fight Night theme there, I guess.
Yes, they're actually making it so maybe Roode's going to get the win in a non-title match and then lose in the rematch for the title. I don't know how they're going to do it, but this is definitely setting up a good way to build up to the next pay-per-view.
It's basically building up Roode versus Aries, so the rematch pretty much, isn't it? Hardcore Justice. After this, we had a Gail Kim versus Miss Teschmacher TNA Knockouts Championship match. The executive vice president of whatever Knockouts was on commentary, Brooke Hogan. And this is a pretty good match. I mean, it went about 5.5 minutes. Teschmacher wins in a pretty good way. Top rope elbow drop. The match is pretty good. I wonder now she's beaten Gail Kim, who will her next opponent be? Will it be a heel Mickie James? Will it be a heel Tara? But yeah, very interesting to see where they go with it, because they've got plenty of possible opponents lined up for her in a potentially long title reign.
Well, I would like to see it to be Tara next, and then before the Bound for Glory, it will be Mickie James. Because obviously they want to be Mickie James and still show that she's an important knockout, so why not give her the big pay-per-view? Yeah,
so pretty good match. Another win for Miss Teschmacher. Her title win is looking pretty good so far.
The match was alright for what we saw. It was pretty good, but obviously I do want to see the move away from Gail Kim now.
Yeah, they will probably do that after now she's beat her in the... Essentially, this is like the pay-per-view rematch on Impact, so... we're going to get Open Fight Night next weekend, Jay. So we're going to have more Bound for Glory series call out. I just hope they don't do what they did in the last month of Open Fight Night and have way too many matches. Have 3 or 4 rather than 6 matches. And Magnus gave us some hype for a house show, which is kind of strange. It's good to see Magnus on the mic, but he was hyping up a house show on this Saturday or something. I don't know. He's going to face James Storm.
Very true. He says how he's a dark horse and how he's going to be the one to watch out for, even though he's pretty low on the table.
2 wins out of 2.
I do look forward to hopefully seeing the match I want to see, him versus Samoa Joe.
Oh, that'll be a big match. I think they should definitely save that for a pay-per-view, though. Kurt Angle versus Mr. Anderson, the BFG series was next. We had a lot of video packages throughout the show, didn't we? They made this feel like a big deal. I mean, this has a lot of history. At Lockdown 2010, these guys had a fantastic steel cage match. So I was pretty looking forward to this match, and I think it was pretty good for what it got.
Well, with this match, the only problem was, thanks to the stream that we had it on, this got 2 commercial breaks at the same time.
Very strange.
Very true. But the match, you do expect a lot from Kurt Angle, and Anderson, he can play it well when he's been in a match that's helping him progress and look good, which Angle really much did.
Yeah, and I want to alert you guys to a good feature. If you go to TNA's YouTube, you can actually watch the matches during commercial. So that's what me and NJ do. So that's a good little feature. Go to their YouTube and you can watch the matches during commercial. The match went about 11 minutes, 45 seconds, something like that, 12 minutes, and Angle wins with the Angle Slam, so he's now on, I think, 27 points now. So now the gap is really closing up. You've got James Storm and Samoa Joe at the top, Angle, Hardy, and the guys on 20-odd points. So at least TNA are sort of closing up a little bit, so it's looking a little bit more competitive than it did at the beginning.
Very true, and that's exactly what I wanted from this series, something different, something that gives us competition. And now we're getting this roughly 3 top names at the top, and ones to watch out for. It's definitely adding more interest. And yes, I would have liked to see Anderson win, but obviously to put Angle higher up and more of a competition at the top of the table, we got that now.
In our main event segment of the night, we got what we originally thought would be the main event angle of the show, and that was the Aces and Eights stuff. You had a lot of backstage segments of Hogan and Sting saying, "We're going to bring it back to the old school. We're going to go be a tag team again, brother." And then we get the sequence in the ring, which will probably happen at Bound for Glory, by the way, them being a tag team. We got this sequence in the ring where Sting calls out Hogan. We get this kind of like awkward minute or two where Hogan doesn't come out. And then we find out that he got attacked by the Aces and Eights guys backstage, and Brooke Hogan was there going, "Daddy, are you okay, Daddy?" He's like, "No, it's just my leg, sis. It's just my leg."
It was pretty sad to see Hogan down the ground like this. You know what, people? I'm coming to attack you. You better watch out. Who's next? You'll find out next week.
I hope I'm not next. That's all I can say. But yeah, basically we get them attacking Sting backstage, Hogan backstage, and then they attack Sting down at the ringside. And there's like, what, 6 or 7, 8 of them? I couldn't count. There's definitely been more added since the last time we saw these guys.
That's very true. There's more here, and obviously the one I thought straight away is two things. Number one, they're going to bring up their OVW stars, and maybe the talent that we're hoping for, like Masters, Morrison, something like that to add up the card. And this is probably the way to bring Jarrett back.
Yeah.
But I look at this, and maybe they're going to make a big, like, Survivor Series kind of match. Big team here, big team there. I don't know what they're going to do, but this definitely adds my interest.
It looks like they may be building to Bound for Glory, like Hogan and Sting in a tag match against the guys or something. I'm not really sure. I read that in the news somewhere. But overall, we shouldn't really be getting the reveal yet. So they did the right thing here. They once again attacked Hogan. They once again attacked Sting. And it was a pretty good way to end the show. It's like, I do wonder where this is going to go. I mean, I really do. I mean, there are lots of possibilities for this, but I do like where this is going right now.
Very true, and this is the part. I'm glad that AJ did not end the show. Thank God, thank God.
He wasn't even in the main portion of the show this week. He was buried in the mid card.
But this is what I wanted to see. Yes, the plan was to maybe have Sting return more towards Bound for Glory, but him coming now, drawing eyes, adding more to this match that we're getting, all this big part of TNA. I very much like this. They've done very well interest, and I'm looking forward to seeing where they take this next.
Yeah, indeed. So that means overall thoughts on this show. They did some build to Hardcore Justice. Not that much, but some. This is kind of like a sort of post-Destination X, let's show all our other storylines sort of pay-per-view edition of Impact. We got some hype for Open Fight. Now, not much, but some. Still enough to keep us interested. And the show, I felt the show was pretty good. Not as great as the last two Impacts, but it was still a pretty decent Impact in my opinion. I'll give it like a B, something like that. It was still an interesting show. They followed up most of the stuff from Destination X quite well as well. So
there was a few segments that I didn't feel delivered as well as they could have done, which affected how I saw it. But the whole Bound for Glory stuff, very nicely done. The fact they mentioned the next pay-per-view, nicely done, and the ending segment, very nicely done.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much all we got to say about this week's show. And all I can say is Impact is so much better than Raw now, isn't it? It's just a given, right?
There's a few things on Impact that are slipping up, but sadly the WWE are having more slip-ups recently with this problem, that problem, this problem, that problem. So they both have areas of improvement, but I'll say TNA is offering what wrestling fans want to see.
And a more complete product as well. You should get your thoughts and comments on this TNA Impact show down in that comment section below, whether you agree or disagree with us. Hell, we're all just trying to give our opinions out there in this internet wrestling community. So put your thoughts down in the comment section below. And now, as part of the Impact Wrestling community post show that we got here at the British Fist, I'm going to hand you over to our little version of Jeremy Borash. It's the much better version of NJ.
Well, all I want to say to this, people, is thank God we don't have a restraining order on each and every one of you. But from Mr. Parkin and me, NJ, share your thoughts of this show in the comment section below. And until next time, people, goodbye.